the forward is written by John Gibbons. And he is an interesting cat to me because I think, like most Jays fans at this point, we love Gibby. He's going to have a place in our heart. He was here for the 2015-16. You like the way he talked to fans. You like the way he talked to the media and all that stuff. But man, is he ever interesting, because he was here a time before that, and he was significantly, I wouldn't say less popular or unpopular, but he's not that time as popular as he is now. And sometimes it's
fire
just
Gibby.
That's it, man. And it's wild to me, and I'm happy about it because, I mean, I've never met Gibby. You obviously have, but he just seems like a genuinely good dude. And the first time around, he didn't have a very good team. And the second time around, he had a better team. And so things look different. But I'm curious, when you reach out to a guy like John Gibbons and have him write the forward for you, what makes you make that call and have him be the guy? And, how do you sort of view what I've just outlined there, the two Gibbies kind of thing? Is it just recency bias? Like that last guy was pretty successful. We like him.
For me, one of the most important figures in the history of this team. And I don't think he gets enough credit because of kind of the persona, there is an art to knowing when to get out of the way. And the teams he managed in 15 and 16, like, let me go down the list here, man. Bautista, Encarnacion, Donaldson, Jesus.
Yeah.
Tulowitzki, Dickey, Stroman, Martin, David Price.
Yeah.
Every one of those guys would be by far the biggest personality in this current clubhouse. And Gibby taught me a lot about what a manager does. And I remember I was interviewing JP Ricciardi for this book, and JP still has that kind of Boston accent twang, and he and Gibby go way back. They roomed together in minor league ball, and he told me, there's one thing I got to tell you about Gibby, Keeks. He's smarter than the average bear. I said, he is, man, because to be able to come back and endear himself is so impressive to me, man, and. He,
like when
again,
Double A announces that's who's coming in, everybody's like, really? This is the guy?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Like I think we're losing track of how wild a move that was as time moves on, because it worked out in hindsight. But at the time, it's like, are you serious? What? It's like if the Jays fired John Schneider tomorrow and brought back Charlie. It's like wait, what?
That's where we're going here?
But it worked. And he was the perfect example, absolutely perfect, of the right match between team and manager, because it was a veteran team who kept care of themselves, but they had big personalities. They needed someone to tell them when to shut up, when to be serious, when to get in line, but they also needed someone who knew when to take a look in the clubhouse and say, "Ooh, I'm getting out of here."
Yeah. And
Gibby did that perfectly.
I'm not going to fight Shea Hillenbrand today. It's
not today. And that's an art form.
Yes.
It's very rare to find. And I think we too often kind of blanket that behind like, oh, it's an old school approach. Old school does not mean that you just sit there and do nothing and go with your gut. It's a human skill.
And it's unfair to say this, but there's something about that laid back nature. And I'm not trying to be an asshole, but that southern drawl that makes you go, old school baseball guy. There are absolutely moments there where you look and go, that was a shrewd thing you just did there. That was a smart thing. Yeah.
And to talk to Gibby about this book, I didn't plan to ask him to do the forward. I did not know who I was going to ask. I was, asking people to do the forward, and then this came up again when I was asking people to do quotes for the back of the book.
Right.
And I did Buck Martinez, Dan Schulman, the TSN Overdrive guys. Jerry Howarth was kind to give me one. Our Mark Feinsand, Richard Griffin. And a lot of those guys are friends. And even when I'm asking them, you're anxious, you're nervous because you're asking someone to do something for you. And I didn't know what to do for the forward of this book. And I was interviewing Gibby. I think I was in Kansas City or one of these cities that I didn't want to be in last year. And I was talking to him on the phone. And God, we talked and we talked and we talked, and he was great. There's a chapter just about him, which I loved writing. And then he's featured pretty heavily in those 15, 16 years, Bautista, Donaldson, all those chapters. He's great in the Donaldson chapter, kind of crapping on him, but with a loving wink. And at the end, I was sitting there and I just thought, geez, Gibby, like, you'd be great for the forward of this book. And I can still hear him. He goes, you know what, Keegs, sure. And then he tells me, he says, Keegs, just write it for me, make me sound smart, and put my name on it. And I said, no, Gibby, we actually, like, we've actually got to do it properly. Right. But he was great with it. And man, there's a reason he's so beloved. Like, even from superstars like Bautista, like I spoke to Jose about Gibby, spoke to someone like Marcus Stroman, who rightfully has a reputation of being pretty damn abrasive in this league. Yep. And he loves Gibby. And I spoke to role players like Ryan Goins, who loves Gibby. You know, Russell Martin, I put this in the book. I asked Russ Martin about Gibby, and he paused and he thought, and he was kind of staring off into the distance. It was like a movie. And he says, he feels like home. And I thought that was just the most amazing quote I've ever heard about a manager. Man, it's just, I've never heard a bad word about him. And I know that his first stint in Toronto wasn't as smooth, right. But man, he found his footing. He found himself. And I really think, like, I'm hoping with the passing of time that people continue to look at Gibby for being a great manager. You know, he was kind of the guy that like loved to wink at the camera and get his laughs in. But man, he was a damn good baseball manager. I'd love to see him get another shot. It would have to be the right kind of team, sort of veteran team. Like, I'm trying to think of a perfect Gibby team. Veteran team that's kind of underperforming, you know? Yeah.
Double A, bring him in again. Let's run it back.
Love that. But man, one of the best people I'll ever come across in baseball.